An emergency United Nations Security Council session is underway in New York, and at the heart of it, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made a plea just moments ago, in fact, for action over what he calls the genocide taking place in his country. Now, yesterday, he visited Bucha. It's a suburb outside the capital, Kyiv, after the discovery of a mass grave there. Today, Zelensky says there are several sites similar to what he saw in Bucha. He addressed the United Nations virtually, urging for a war crimes tribunal to hold those accountable to justice.
Must be brought to justice immediately for war crimes in Ukraine. Anyone who has given criminal orders and carried out them by killing our people will be brought before the tribunal, which should be similar to the Nuremberg tribunals. I would like to remind Russian diplomats that a man like von Ribbentrop has not escaped punishment for crimes in World War II. I would also like to remind you that Adolf Eichmann also did not go unpunished. Nobody of them escaped the punishment. But the main thing is today is it's time to transform the system, the United Nations. So therefore, I propose to convene a global conference, and we can do it here in peaceful Kyiv in order to determine how we are going to reform the world security system, how we will rely, how do we establish guarantee of recognition of borders and integrity of states and countries.
Katie Simpson is part of our CBC News team in Ukraine. She's in the western city of Lviv with more on Zelensky's latest message to the world. Just got to warn you, though, there are some graphic and disturbing details.
This is about Volodymyr Zelensky demanding that Vladimir Putin be held to account, and that the point of the United Nations and that these bodies exist to try and, keep peace within the world. And clearly that is not what's going on right now. And this is this urgent push for action. We've heard him previously call for more weapons for Ukraine, for better defenses here in Ukraine. They want more sanctions against Russia to really put that economic squeeze on the Kremlin and on Russia so that that Vladimir Putin can't continue to wage this war. Have a listen to some of how Volodymyr Zelensky made his case.
I am addressing you on behalf of the people who honor the memory of the deceased every single day, in the memory of the civilians who died, who were shot and killed in the back of their head after being tortured. Some of them were shot on the streets, others were thrown into the wells, so they died there in suffering. They were killed in their apartments, houses, blowing up grenades. The civilians were crushed by tanks while sitting in their cars in the middle of the road, just for their pleasure. They cut off limbs, cut their throats, slashed their throats. Women were raped and killed in front of their children. Their tongues were pulled out only because the aggressor did not hear what they wanted to hear from them.
Volodymyr Zelensky being incredibly graphic in his description of what has happened in Bucha. And remember, this is just one part of Ukraine that has been stuck in this conflict. And it's not even where the heaviest fighting that we know about has taken place. Remember, the south has been engaged in a heavy firefight, heavy shelling by Russia, and Ukrainian soldiers trying to hold on, even though we know that tens of thousands of people are trapped in places like Mariupol. So Volodymyr Zelensky is intentionally trying to make world leaders feel uncomfortable so they take action. And again, the goal here is to get the violence to stop, to try and get Russia's invasion to be over, to try and force Vladimir Putin into some kind of off-ramp, urging Western leaders and members of the UN Security Council and really getting the world's attention to try to build pressure, take more action against Vladimir Putin.
That's CBC's Katie Simpson in Lviv, western Ukraine.